Hey small groups, welcome to week 5, the final week of our focus season, Thrive. This week we're talking about living with purpose. Remember, this recap is meant to serve as a refresher, but not a substitute for the message. So if you didn't have a chance to watch it yet, set aside some time for it this week if you can. This past Sunday we talked about 3 ways to live on purpose. The first was, be intentional about your script. Here's what we mean. We all have 2 scripts, and the first is the one in our mind, and the second is the one that gets played out in reality. And we all have in our mind some type of script for how we think life is going to go. But the script that we end up living out is usually one that ends up being written by other people or the circumstances around us. As a result, we may not end up living our script according to the purposes that God has for us. And that's the key, not just to write our own script, but to write it according to God's intended purposes. Now we all have 2 callings. The first is our primary calling. It's the same for all of us, the one that we received in the garden, to be image bearers of God and work with Him for the flourishing of our world. Our second calling will look different for each of us. This is how we live out our primary calling according to our unique circumstances, gifts, abilities, and limitations. The second way you put on your purpose is this: don't put God on your priority list. You see, when you put God on your priority list, you end up separating God from the rest of your life. Instead, put a circle around your priorities and let God encompass them so that God permeates all of your priorities. Here's the third way to live on purpose. View yourself as a steward rather than an owner. In other words, recognize that all the gifts, all the strengths, all the abilities, experiences, and resources that we've been given have been entrusted to us, not primarily for our benefit, but so that they can be used for our calling, according to God's purposes. Now take some time as a small group, discuss the questions in your booklet, and thanks for getting together with each other today. I hope you have a great small group meeting, and since this is the last week in our focus season, try to take some time to talk about what's happening next week.